Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling.
That song reminds me of the babies that are in the NBA. Every time I think about the babies in the NBA, this pops into my head. I hear these multi-million-dollar bitches crying about getting popcorn thrown on them, crying about a drunk 21-year-old chucking a bottle at them, and I want to cry.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those
Raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. I can't handle grown-ass men that make $30 million a year bitching about getting a water bottle almost hitting you. I can't deal with that crap. Here's kind of it's not the replay, but it's the game call from a different TV network.
You know, unfortunately, we have seen issues around the NBA with fans crossing the line. Somebody tossed a water bottle, and it nearly hit Kyrie as he was walking to the tunnel. Tyler Johnson noticed it, and the Nets began to point out who it was in that section.
So, for those of you that don't know, I know everybody knows, but if you didn't know, last night, Celtics got their butts kicked by the Nets. At the end of the game, when the Nets were leaving, this is before the douchebag Kyrie thought it'd be cool where he would sneakily walk over and, stomp on the head of on the leprechaun. I don't care about shit like that, but whatever. It's not the American flag, bro. It's your team crest. If I played for that team, I'd be pissed. Like, if you did that to a Woobertana, and I played for the Woobertanas in high school, yeah, bro, I'd be BS. I'd be absolutely BS. But I can't stand these babies bitching, moaning, and whining about getting water bottles thrown at them. You make $30 million, bro. Let me tell you something. I'd let you smash me directly in the face with the water bottle for $30 million. Just once. I'm not saying just hit me once. Listen, I would let you beat the fuck out of me like the way Rocky looked after fighting Apollo Creed with the water. You could hit me with a water bottle until my face caved in. Just before I died, right? So I was still going to live if I was going to get 30 mil. If you're like, hey, listen, Anthony, we're going to give you $30 million, but before you get the 30 mil, we're going to absolutely pummel you. And you're going to, I already can't see out of my eyes. I don't care. We're going to pummel you into the ground. You'll barely live, but you'll live. And after 6 months of just resting in a hospital bed and shit, you'll have $30 million. I'd be like, woo! All about it. I can't stand these players. If I got popcorn thrown at me, I'd have picked up the popcorn and I'd have ate it. I would have and I would have looked. And then when I did my post game, if I was Russell Westbrook, I would have did my post game and I would have said, yeah. They'd be like, hey, Russell, are you pissed? I'd be like, no, I make millions. I made like $30 million a year. I just got paid $1 million to play tonight. I'm not pissed. The other guy's probably pissed. I'd be like, bro, you came to see me. You just wasted $40 on dropping that popcorn. You just blew $40. You didn't even eat the popcorn. That's what I would say. If I was Kyrie Irving and a water bottle passed my face and it hit the ground, I'd pick up the water bottle, I'd open that shit and I'd go, bloop, 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 bloop. Then I'd sit down and they'd say, hey, Kyrie, how do you feel about getting a water bottle thrown at you? And I wouldn't make it about racism. I would be like, oh, I'm like a caged animal. No, I would say, you know what? I would say this. Here's what I would say. I would say, hey, man, I was really thirsty.
Underlying racism.
Wait, I messed that up. I'd be saying, I'm real thirsty. Cool water. I'd say, give me some. I'd be like, thanks, bro. I made 30 mil to play tonight. Oh, and this is what I would do if I was Kyrie. I'd sit back and go, yep, I dropped 39 on your ass. Your best player put up 40, and you still didn't win. Oh, and by the way, I'm a multi-millionaire, and you're a 20-year-old bitch. That's what I would say. I'd be like, and you're a 20-year-old bitch that's going home, and you're hammered. God, I can't stand these fucking people. Here's Kyrie after the game.
Underlying racism and just treating people like they're in a human zoo. throwing stuff at people, saying things. There's a certain point where it just gets to be too much. So, I called it out. I just wanted to keep it strictly basketball, and then you just see that people just feel very entitled out here. They pay for the tickets, great. I'm grateful that they're coming in to watch a great performance, but it's just, we're not at the theater. We're not throwing tomatoes and other random stuff at the people that are performing. It's too much. And it's a reflection on, us as a whole when you have fans acting like this.
Oh, I can't listen anymore. It's disgusting. Some guy just texted it over to me. He said, we play in the NBA. Life is so unfair. They're throwing popcorn at us. They're throwing water at us. What are we gonna do? They're gonna throw tomatoes at us. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Listen, I work at WEEI now, and I produce Gary Tangway. And I gotta listen to Tang, and I love Tangway. I love him. Tang is my guy. But I had to listen for 4 hours this morning of Tanga. Just everybody walking on it, like dancing on it. Just, bro, fuck dancing on it. You make $30 million a year. I'll throw a fucking harpoon at you if I want. You make 30 mil. Get the fuck out there, play basketball, and if I chuck a bottle at you, I'll get arrested, I'll get kicked out, I'll never get to go to an NBA game ever again in my entire life. And then they want to kill this kid. Like people are going after him like it was racist. You have a 20-year-old kid that got hammered. It's the first time people have been out in over 15 months, out in public, out with a bunch of group of people, with a group of people. The kid was clearly loaded. He chucked the bottle. Big deal. So what? He got a little bit pissed. He was a little bit upset. At the end of the game, his team got their butt kicked. He was drinking, and he chucked the bottle at Kyrie Irving. And they said, oh, it has to be racist. It's got to be racist. No, it's got nothing to do with race. It has all to do with the fact that the kid was hammered, his team lost, and Kyrie's a fucking dickhead. That's it. Here's KD after the game. KD was a little bit less on the racism side, but here's what he had to say. You know what? He wasn't even on the racism side.
But when you come to these games, you gotta realize, man, these men are human. We're not animals. We're not in a circus. You coming to the game is not all about you as a fan. So have some respect for the game. Have some respect for these human beings, and have some respect for yourself. Your mother wouldn't be proud of you throwing water bottles at basketball players or spitting on players or tossing popcorn. So grow up and enjoy the game.
See, I can kind of agree with Kevin Durant on this, right? Grow the fuck up. You don't throw shit at people. Grow up. But when you're 21 years old, that's what you do. I'm sorry. You're 21. Which one of you among us watching Spazzing Out America? By the way, this is Spazzing Out America's podcast. I did my Memorial Day podcast already. So you could go back, and it's the previous episode, and you can hear my thoughts on Memorial Day. Of course, I love this country. Thank you so much to everybody that gave their... Listen, what you guys did for us, giving your lives for our freedom, to protect this country, to protect me and my family so that I could sit here and bitch and moan about NBA players. There's nothing I could say, nothing at all that I could say to thank you. Listen to my previous episode, and I go... It's my whole Memorial Day podcast. This is Spazzing Out America's podcast. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartMedia or iHeartRadio, Odyssey. Hey, Alexa, play Spazzing Out America's podcast. I do the podcast 5 times a week. I record it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. And then I upload it in the morning at 5 in the morning to a podcast platform, 5 fresh episodes. If you don't get enough of me during the week, depending on what show I'm working for on WEEI, Hillman, Gresh and Keith, or Tangway and Hart, then you can listen to my podcast. Because typically on this podcast, it's a conservative podcast, but sometimes sports, and because I work at a sports station, sports gets into it. I can't handle overpaid. I don't even, you know what? I don't even want to say they're overpaid. I just can't. Anybody that makes money, a lot of money, I'm talking big dollars, I don't want to hear you, bitch. I just don't. I don't. Because guess what, bro? I get things thrown at me, and I make $13.50 an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get things thrown at me, and I gotta go home, and my life fucking sucks. Now, I love my wife. She's the best. But my wife wishes I was rich. Trust me. My kids wish I was rich. My mother-in-law does. My father-in-law does. My dad is dead, and the guy's in his grave being like, I wish you were rich. I'm not. And I get shit thrown at me all the time. And no one gives a fuck. I get things thrown at me constantly. My kids throw things at me. My wife throws things at me. My neighbors throw things at me. Random fucking people see me walking down the street. They roll down their window. They go, fuck you, Spaz. And they throw shit at me. I know one's getting arrested. I don't make millions of dollars. It absolutely drives me insane. Insane. Years ago, I got shot with over 1,000 paintballs. I get fucking nothing. Welts all over me. Oh, they threw a water bottle at me. Here's what I agree. This is a brief cut. I agree with Charles Barkley. Let them, you know what? I would totally be fine. Here's Charles Barkley on it.
Look at that little punk ass. Just take him downstairs, let Kyrie handle that.
So they were showing a video of the guy getting arrested, and Charles Barkley says, look at that little punk ass. Let Kyrie take care of it. Like, Kyrie looks like a bitch. If he got into a fist fight, I would guess that the 21-year-old would kick his ass. Maybe Kevin Durant would beat him up. But I would be okay with that. I would totally be fine if a fan, right, just like the old Bruins days, where the guys was like Mike Milbury, and they went up in the stands and someone beat the fuck out of someone with a shoe. I'd be cool with that. Listen, you chuck something at somebody, and that guy beats the fuck out of you. I'm fine with that. I say that to my son. I'm like, bud, if my 13-year-old kid got his ass kicked because he chucked a water bottle at somebody, I'd be like, okay. So, you know what? As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, Steve Rogers, right? We used to live, my dad's house used to be a two-family. So the Rogers lived on one side before my dad bought it, made it into a single family. So the Rogers lived on one side. Steve Rogers, this guy, he fucking beat the shit out of me. Beat my ass in. Bloody nose, face was fucked up. I come through the door to the other side, asked my dad. I was like, oh, like a bitch. I'm like, oh yeah. My dad looks at me, goes, he doesn't ask me if I'm okay. He's not trying to figure out what happened, right? Or he's not ready to get up and protect me. I'm crying like, Dad. My father goes, he looks at me and goes, what did you do? That's exactly what he said. He looked at me and goes, what did you do? And I don't know, I don't remember, but I mouthed off to him or something like that. Or maybe I did something to his, I don't know exactly what happened. And the point was, my dad's looking, he goes, well, you deserved it. My father didn't give a shit. I got my ass kicked by a grown man. But my dad was like, yeah, you open your mouth, you're going to get your teeth knocked in. You want to be a big boy? You want to make statements? You want to, big boy decisions have big boy consequences? So you got your ass kicked, Aunt. Deal with it. That's what my father said. My dad, I'm sure later, my dad was a good man, so I'm not shitting on my father. My father was the best. I'm willing to bet, because I've seen him do this for my brother Mike, I'm willing to bet later, my father never said anything to me, I'm willing to bet later my dad went over and was like, don't you ever fuck with my kid. I've seen my dad do that for my brothers. But he made a point. My dad made a point that if you do something, if you hit someone, expect to get hit. If you say something that's offensive to someone, right, expect to get into a fight. If you make comments that upset a person enough to get them to hit you, be ready. Your words, your comments, the things that you do in life set up a beatdown. And I'm not saying Kyrie needs to get beat down, but if you're going to come out and you're going to make comments, well, first off, you dust the city. You say, oh, I can't wait to be here. I want to sign with you guys. And then you give us the finger. And then you leave and never come back. You come back for one game. There's no crowd here. The first opportunity that you have to come back when there's a crowd, you pretend like you're hurt. Then the next time you come, there's no fans here. Then the next time you come when there's going to be fans, you say Boston's a racist city. Expect shit to go down. Expect a 21-year-old kid to get drunk and think that he's going to chuck a bottle. Just expect it. And now the 21-year-old kid, he should expect to get his face beat in. I'm telling you, they should, that would handle the whole situation. The kid threw the bottle, and then Kyrie or someone gets to go in the stands, and they punch the kid in the face. Done. It's over. See you later. You handle it the old way. The good old days. You go outside, one-on-one. None of this, 5 people jump in. One-on-one. You go outside, you fight until you're out of breath. You guys know what I'm talking about. You get into a fight. It's like a half-hour-long fight, except like 5 minutes in, you guys stop fighting, and you're holding each other. You're like, you good? You good, bro? I'm good. You good? I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. You good? I'm good. All right, then you say you're good. You guys look mangled. You shake each other's hands. Dude says, hey, sorry for throwing the water bottle at you. The other guy, Kyrie, says, yeah, man, sorry I called you guys all racist. I was just aggravated. And then you go on with your life. It's ridiculous. I have to play this, though. This whole talk about water in Boston, of course. Oh, Boston, you're my home. But in all honesty, making money or not making money, right? My nose is super itchy, man. Sorry. It's definitely not about racism. I just want to point that out. The water bottle incident is what I'm talking about. This is not about racism. This is really about a 20-year-old kid who got drunk and chucked a water bottle at an athlete that he just doesn't support. And I'm sure if he were sober, he wouldn't have done it. I don't think they want to throw the book at this kid. He's going to court. His name's, Cole Buckley. Cole Buckley, he's 21. He's going to court tomorrow or today, whenever you're listening to the podcast, on Tuesday. And I hope that the judge gets it. I hope the judge says, all right, you're 21, you're a dink, you got drunk, you threw a water bottle. He is what, and this is what I hope the judge does. So the judge says, hey, look, you're not doing any fucking jail time for throwing a bottle at somebody. You're not doing any jail time, no. You're going to be put on, you'll get continuous without a finding, 6 months of probation, and then maybe make him do some stupid community service. Maybe he has to go and hand out water bottles to all the fucking junkies on Mass Ave for 2 weekends because they need it in the middle of the summer because they're hot out. So instead, he could throw some water bottles to the homeless people at his own cost. It's not that expensive. You go out, you fucking $4, $4.99, you get 24 bottles of water. You go buy a couple of cases, you hand it out to some of the homeless fucking mutants over on Mass Ave, and that's it, and it goes away. If this kid does a second of jail time, if this kid gets, probation, big time probation, like 2 years probation, garbage. An example should not be set based on the fact that Kyrie claims Boston is racist. And listen, this needs to be right on the same level as other incidents where someone might have thrown a water bottle at somebody else, and it didn't even hit him. It missed him. There was an attempt at an assault with a water bottle, but it didn't get him. It needs to be judged upon for what it is. And it's funny because, hear me out, liberal, you would think normally here in Massachusetts, liberal judges would let this kid off. But liberal judges in Massachusetts love to take the opportunity to stomp out racism. And they're going to take this shit out on this 21-year-old kid. A conservative judge would merely say, this has nothing to do with race and all to do with that you're a donkey. To the 21-year-old kid, they say, you're an idiot. You got hammered. You threw a water bottle at someone, son. You can't do that shit. So here's the deal. You ain't drinking for 6 months, because if we catch you drinking, you're breaking your probation. So your penalty is no drinking for 6 months. You're going to do community service. You're going to hand out water bottles to the homeless people on Mass Ave. That's what you're going to do. You're going to do 1 weekend or 2 weekends, something like that, at your own expense. And a public apology. And then that's it. Bye. Be on your way. You're 21. The kid shouldn't lose his job over it, which he might. It's cancel culture time. He shouldn't lose his job. He should just get what someone would normally get. Like if I left this house right now and I went up to Revere Beach and I threw a water bottle at somebody, he should just get whatever would happen from that. Honestly, if I threw a water bottle at somebody up here, the state police are the ones that patrol the beach over here on Revere Beach Rock. The guy, I'd get snatched up by the cop. The cop would be like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? Get the hell out of here. The guy I threw the water bottle at would have probably smashed me in the face, broke my glasses. I would have picked up my gogs and been like, yeah, bro, I don't know. I was drinking too much moonshine at my house. Let me get a sip of that. I'm sorry. All right. But here.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Raindrops are falling on my head, and they keep falling.
All right, that's it. I got to get to Biden, and then I got to be done. So Joe Biden, anytime I talk about Joe, any fucking time I talk about Joe, Kyrie should apologize. Yeah, Kyrie, so someone said Kyrie should apologize for stomping on the leprechaun's face. That kind of shit doesn't bother me. But, well, let me bring that back. It's not like he was stomping on the American flag. But if I played for the Celtics, I'd have a problem with it. I'll give you the best example I could give you this. If I still played for the Woburn Tanners, and I still wrestled for Woburn, and someone stomped on the Tanner, on the Bull, I'd be pissed. I'd come, because I got Tanner pride. I'd come at you with black and orange, bro, and I'd be fired up. So Jason Tatum should be fired up. Marcus Smart should be fucking steamballing. These dudes should be ready to go to war, to battle next game for the disrespect, because that's their logo. That's their team logo, and they should be upset about it. Personally, I don't give a fuck about it. I don't care. If you'd stepped on the American flag like that, I'd be all heated. If you stepped on the American flag, I'd hit him in the face with a water bottle, and then I'd stand, and I wouldn't have left. I'd get in his face. Then what are you going to do, bro? Now what? Now what? I'll go to jail for that. Go fucking burn the flag. Don't step on the flag. But personally, unless I played for the team, if I played for the Bruins and someone pissed on the B, I'd be steaming. If I played for the Pats and someone stepped all over Pat Patriot, I'd be bullshit. But since I'm just a fan, I'm neither here nor there. But Jason Tatum, that should be enough to fire him up. That dropping 40 points isn't enough. Tatum needs to come back and needs to play crazy defense. That's where I'd rather see Tatum drop 30 points, 25 fucking points, but play baller defense on Kyrie and be like, don't ever fucking step on Lucky ever again. Or someone needs to take a tough foul. If I were Brad Stevens, I before the game, I would be right in there and say, hey, listen, who's doing it? Who's taking the tough foul? One of you guys got to take that right off the bat. I mean, there would be tough foul, flagrant foul. I'd pick someone to take it, and they'd be getting booted out of the game. So 100%, there'd be retaliation. There should be retaliation. Will there be? No, because the Celtics are soft. That's it. I would shit myself. All right, I got to move on from this. Joe Biden. Anytime Joe speaks, I can't help but play this song, dude. The guy just reminds me of the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. I call him the great and powerful Wizard of America. He's not all there. He every time he fucking talks, he can't get it out. And I feel bad because maybe 10 years ago, Joe might have been able to get out a full sentence. But we have to hear.
Follow the yellow
Brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Every time, I'm telling you, Joe is pay no attention to the man to the woman behind the curtain. They got a big. You go into Emerald City, and there's Joe's big head. I'm the great and powerful Wizard of America. Pay no attention to the lady behind the curtain. Lady behind the curtain is Kamala Harris. So leading up to Memorial Day, Joe Biden is he's at a rally or something. He's at a press conference, and the guy just can't. Every American knows, and listen, the Declaration of Independence actually has a paragraph before it gets to this part. But every fucking American, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, every American knows it. My 6-year-old daughter knows it. I think that American babies come out of their moms and they're like, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for some reason, Joe just can't get it right. Let me find the beginning of it. This is from this weekend. Here's Joe. I think this is it. Hold on. I have so many fucking cuts. No. No, that's that baby Russell Westbrook. All right, here's Joe this weekend leading up to Memorial Day at a rally.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, etc.
What the fuck? Bro, I'm dying. Dude. Life, liberty, and etc.
Including life, liberty, etc.
Listen, we're all endowed with unalienable rights.
Including life, liberty, etc.
life, liberty, and etc. You are all entitled to the pursuit of life, liberty, and etc.
Including life, liberty, etc.
And he's messed it up before. Here's another time.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
You know the thing. Life, liberty, and
Including life, liberty, etc.
life, liberty, and etc. I listen. I spend a lot of time on my podcast ripping on Joe Biden's policies, which I think are devastating to the United States of America. His border policy is killing us. His tax policy is going to be devastating. I know people that are like for example, my father-in-law. God, man, he's selling one of my properties down in Florida now. They're not my properties; they're his properties. He had a nice water. Dude, my father-in-law bought 2 lots together down in Florida, and he bought them on a sailboat canal. And for those of you that don't know what a sailboat canal is, it means there are no bridges to the bay. So if you have bridges on your way to the bay, you can't have a sailboat because you got to go under the fucking bridge. It makes it an extremely valuable piece of property. He bought 2 lots next to each other, built the seawall where you could have your dock and you could have your fucking sailboat. And then the second lot, he built a beach. It's beautiful. Now there's no house on it yet. And I'm like, oh baby, woo, Daddy's retiring. We're going down to Florida, sailboat, fucking canal. He just sold them. He sold the lots together. But he's selling because he's selling because he's panicking about the capital gains tax that Joe Biden is going to hit us with. And he didn't want to deal with it. He wanted to sell it now before that went in. He still owns another canal piece of property with a house on it. So I'll still have my retirement home down in Port Charlotte. Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. Because as you know, we are all entitled to
life, liberty, etc.
So I spent a lot of time ripping on Joe's policies. But he really, it is clear, it is self-evident that Joe Biden has some kind of cognitive decline.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Listen, Joe.
Yeah, I do. I know a lot of weed smokers.
I bet you know a lot of weed smokers, bro. You sound like you're high. I've never heard this cut before that I'm about to play. And I was just like, what the hell is he talking about? Because while I was searching stuff for the show to talk about, the cut came up that Joe Biden messed up the Declaration of Independence. This cut right here came up.
Including life, liberty, etc.
So I was like, all right. And then the next video was this. I don't know. He's speaking at some kind of event, and I don't know what he's talking about. No clue. I'll play the audio for you, but I have no idea what's going on.
And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
What the fuck? Dude. What is he talking about? I learned about roaches and he
And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Dude, what the fuck is wrong with Joe Biden?
They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
He learned about roaches.
They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
How can a liberal, please someone explain this to me. How can you be a liberal mutant and not find this shit funny, not find it scary, not just sit there and be like, wait a second, dude, this dude's our president.
Including life, liberty, etc.
Life, liberty, and etc. Fucking life. Imagine, can you imagine Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson, like, he rolls up on George Washington. He says, hey, George. I wrote the Declaration of Independence. Me and John Adams and Benjamin Franklin, we got together and we thought, what do you think about this? I think the American people deserve,
including life, liberty, etc.
I think we deserve life, liberty, like, what? Get the fuck.
including life, liberty,
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of etc. What do you think about that, George? Could you imagine what the founding fathers would say? They would just be like, what the fuck? Like, what? Who? I got this. Hey, guys, I got this. I'm doing an edit on the Declaration before we send it over to King George. I'd like you guys to proofread it for me.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
You know the thing. You know the thing. What the fuck?
Yeah, I do. I know a lot of weed smokers.
So this is why every single time Joe fucks up, every single time I hear from Joe, I can't. When Joe Biden is on, it's like must-watch TV. When Joe Biden's, and then I literally, my family doesn't get out of it. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, here he comes.
Follow the yellow brick road.
I love that guy's voice too, dude.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Every single time. Every time this thing comes on, I'm right back.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Every single time. I don't know how people take him serious. I don't know how world leaders take him serious. The worst part about it is it's because he has a mental decline, right? He has a cognitive problem. Not because he's not a smart guy. It's because he's too old. Time has passed this dude by.
Including life, liberty, etc.
He has mental decline and etc. He has etc. He has something, etc. And it's clear. And the United States and the people that live in this country should be nervous about that. It's okay that you voted for a liberal mutant. I don't care. I am a conservative. I'm hoping that Donald Trump runs again. If he doesn't, I'm hoping that Ron DeSantis runs. I'll vote for him. But it's America. You have the right to vote for whoever you want to vote for. But health issues are a problem. We can't have a leader that can't put this. This is like Americana at its best. This should be on the fucking test of Americana. You go up and, hey, here's a test of Americana. Finish this sentence. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You know what? I'll have to fucking do. You know what? I'm doing it. I'll bet you 10 out of 10 people that I ask, I go up to them and I'll do it. I'll figure whenever I do it. I'm willing to bet 10 out of 10 that if I go up to people and I say, finish this sentence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of, and they'll say pursuit of happiness. No one will fuck it up. Not a single person.
Including life, liberty, etc.
No one's going to say life, liberty, and etc. Life, liberty, and something else. Life, liberty, finish the sentence. I'm going to do it. I don't know when we'll have it on the podcast, but I'm fucking doing it. And listen, 10 out of 10 are going to get it right. Hands down. Nobody messes this up. I don't care. Bro, if you are an illegal immigrant coming into this country, they make you learn those words. You're coming over, and the Mexicanos are like, bro, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. If anybody talks to you, they're like, hey, where are you? ICE is like, where are you from? The guy's like, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Oh, yeah, you're all set. Everybody fucking knows it, except for our president. Our president's like, hey, Joe, life, liberty.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
You know the thing. Hey, Joe Biden, finish the sentence. Life, liberty.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Jesus Christ. Dude, the dude's voice is grizzled.
Follow the yellow brick road.
All right, guys. That's it. Thank you so much for listening to Spazzing Out, America's podcast. On this podcast, we discuss life, liberty.
Including life, liberty, etc.
Life, liberty, and etc. We cover all topics, etc. on Spazzing Out America's podcast. The podcast is done 5 times a week. Do me a favor. If you like the podcast, share it with someone. If you happen to watch it when I do it live, share the feed on Facebook. Click the bell so you know when we're on. If you're on Instagram, share the feed. Like it. Send it to somebody. I'd appreciate it. Most people are listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartMedia, iHeartRadio, whichever one it is, Odyssey. Hey, Alexa, play Spazzing Out, America's podcast.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Literally, it's somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 downloads per episode a day. The podcast is growing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. All I ask, and I don't ask for money from anybody. I don't ask for anything, and I think I have one advertiser that that Spotify gave me, and I think it burns out in like a day. So I don't really ask much. All I ask is that you tell other people about the podcast and you share it with other people. God bless. God bless America.